Sometimes I get on the Nintendo eShop and I look for a new game and filter by free demos. This game popped up and I thought, this is probably a first-person shooter and I'm not gonna like it. But I checked out the pictures and the artwork style looked interesting, so I thought, it's a free demo, I'll try it anyway. I played it, got stuck a few times, finished it, and really liked it. So here's a quick review of Gunbrella. For context, my reviews are from someone who plays games, but is not a super gamer by any means. A little background on the game. Gunbrella was released in 2023, developed by the indie studio Doinksoft, and published by Devolver Digital. It's a single-player action-adventure 2D side-scroller with platforming. Download size, 905 megabytes, since I know storage is expensive. Metacritic score, 78, 7.6. OpenCritic, 80. To beat this game is said to take between 5.5 to 11 hours. Obviously, this depends heavily on how good you are at games. The game is available on the Nintendo Switch and Steam. At the time of this review, the price is $14.99, with an all-time low of $4.49 in December of 2025. I believe I bought it for $7.49 on sale. There's also a physical copy of the Doinksoft collection with Gunbrella, Gato Roboto, and Demon Throttle. Now, what I'm about to say you will find out in the first few minutes of the game, so if you want to go in completely blind, stop here and I guess minor spoilers. Now, I could talk for an hour about this game, but I'm just going to focus on non-spoiler, non-story things that I would personally like to know before buying a game. I'll do a long video later talking about the entire game, so look for that coming up. You will play as a man who comes home to find his wife has been killed and his child has been taken. The man finds a strange weapon in the house and sets off to get his child back and get revenge. And to do that, he must find out more about this weapon and where it came from. He goes to the nearest town to find out more, and along the way he will meet many interesting characters and find himself in some crazy situations. I'll leave it at that so you can go into the game and experience the story for yourself. Now, there is more than one ending, which I like, so that definitely adds to replayability of the game, so keep that in mind. Just a side note, they have some great jokes and puns. I won't spoil them, but they're great. Little Easter eggs you might find along the way if you pay attention. They're little comments a character might make that don't seem too important, but they might be later. I like attention to detail, so I thought I would just mention that. Now for gameplay. I like games to be accessible to everyone, so I love that there are 3 difficulty settings: easy, normal, and hard mode. Now, even on easy mode, this game will still challenge a casual player, but if you are a sadist, you can crank up the difficulty. The game does give you frequent save points, and at these points you can refill your health. Also, this lends itself to difficulty levels. If you want to be a sadist, skip the save and refill areas so you get severely punished when you die. The game will teach you the controls early on and in a fun and funny way. The controls are responsive and easy to get used to. One thing I don't like, but others might find more realistic, I'm used to pausing to use health refill items, but in this game you choose your health item by using the D-pad buttons on the left side of the controller, and then you have to hold down the L button to use the item. So it does take a second. So sometimes I did die while holding the button, waiting for my health item to take effect. I mean, you might die waiting. I, of course, am a much better player than that, so that never happened to me. They have the normal refill, partial refill, but also a heal over time item, and I actually like that one the best, because while you're taking hits, you can hold out long enough to make it because you're still healing. You don't have to wait until the last second when you're almost dead to use the item, so you don't, waste it. I just thought that was a clever mechanic to mention. You have a few ammo options. These are also controlled like the health options, up and down to switch between the ammo, and left and right for the health items. The game is mostly linear, but you can make a few choices of where to go first, and you will backtrack sometimes to talk to other characters again to continue the story, which I did like. I think it helps round out the characters and their story and close some loose ends. But there were a few times I had to backtrack more than I personally wanted to, so you may or may not be okay with that. I guess it depends on what you're used to. You do have quests to complete, and a quest book to help you keep track of them. I find this useful, but if you don't want that crutch, you don't need to look at it. My memory's not that good, so I appreciate it. You can get set on fire in this game, and there is a fire meter, and you will lose health the longer you're on fire. I like that they added that. Thought that was neat. When you kill an enemy, the devs made sure that the guts go flying, and then stay on the screen so you get to walk through them. Yummy. The music is simple, repetitive, but foreboding at times, creepy at times, sometimes even peaceful. Sometimes there's no music, just footsteps, which is a good change-up. I like the sound effects and the music is my point. It was appropriate for the game. There are different areas to visit, so the scenery doesn't get boring. I do feel like the game has some major difficulty spikes. Most of the quote normal gameplay was exploring and was super easy, but the bosses were way harder. I get it that the bosses should be hard, but I guess the game didn't prepare me enough for how hard the bosses were. Also, there was a particular boss that I got to, couldn't beat it, had no health items, and could not get out of the area to buy more. Each time I died, I started right before the boss and couldn't leave. This was frustrating for me because I hate being stuck like that. Before I give my overall impression, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and let me know if this review would be helpful for you in deciding whether or not to pick up this game. Also, let me know what criteria you would like covered in future reviews. So my overall impression. I think this is a well-made, fun game with an interesting story and great characters. The artwork is nice to look at, change of scenery happens enough that the gameplay does not get stale, the difficulty level can be adjusted to accommodate most players, and it does have replayability. I do feel like there are some really large difficulty spikes, and health items are a little difficult to use in battle, which may frustrate some people. Would I recommend this game for someone who likes games in this genre? Yes. I think this game is great for anyone other than a super new player. Do I think this game is worth full price, or should you wait for a sale? I always love getting things on sale, but I do think it's worth full price. I feel like that's always a test of how good a game is. Would I pay full price? I think if I had to rate this game, I'd give it an 85% or a B+, as far as like school grading goes. With A being the best, 100% being the best. I don't have a mathematical system for my rating, just what feels right to me. Let this be a lesson. Play the damn demo. That's going to be my tagline. Anyway, I hope you'll stick around, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Thank you for watching, and until next time.